Okay, let's start. And we are on the second session of this initiative, Fostering Dialogue to Talanoa in Practice, that has been held by Climate Social Forum. As you heard from the notes of the music at the beginning, this session is a Talanoa session. Talanoa, we will discover after, it's a methodology that has been born in the Fiji. Talanoa, it's a word that in the Fiji dialogue, in the Fiji dialect, it means we are on the same boat. On this mood, let's start this session. This is the second session of the day, and it's related to NDCs and climate finance. Before starting, a brief introduction on the context in which this initiative is led. This initiative is made by Climate Social Forum inside the Open Dialogue of for Climate Change. Open dialogues on climate change are a set of events that have been coordinated by this group of youth activists that are sometimes coming from Yango, from the international negotiation, and they are also part of the Paris Committee on Capacity Building, and they foster the organization of events where stakeholder, decision makers, civil society can match in order to discuss about the topics related to climate change. The idea is based properly to allow an open discussion among these topics. And properly on that, the Climate Social Forum that has been born to be a virtual space where to foster discussion has organized this initiative. Climate Social Forum is a free and inclusive universal assembly that has the goal to create a virtual agora where activists, citizens, and experts can propose their ideas to stimulate national government, local administration to build an ecological, sustainable future. We inspired to the Manifesto Climatico Latinoamericano that has been this great participatory process that has led to define the Manifesto Climatico during COP25. We organized these virtual agoras that have been virtual spaces in which we foster the dialogue on the climate action path that are the tracks of our action. And in particular, the idea of the Climate Social Forum is to set up a free discussion space and safe discussion space based on some principles that we can resume in 3 keywords that are listen, generativity, and solution. Here are listed all the principles, but the main message is that we are on the same boat, and only if we remain together we could prevent the storm from happening. And properly, as we are on the same boat, we want to foster also the Talanoa dialogue. And today is a practical example of Talanoa dialogue. Talanoa dialogue is a traditional word that reflects an inclusive, participatory, and transparent dialogue process. I invite you to see also the video recording on our Facebook page of the previous session, where we had the honor to have a Fijian friend, a Fijian activist that explains how the Talanoa is coming from the traditional culture of not only Fiji, but all the Pacific Islands, and properly stands in this dialogue to foster decision into communities. Decision that can be based on 3 guiding questions that we are going to use also on our breakouts, that are where we are, which is the current state, the state of art, where do we want to go, which is our goal. So proposals and commitments. How do we get there? So the methods and strategy to reach our goal. Mapping this methodology through the sociocracy culture or principles, we can say that we can map few of them inside the Talanoa process, that are transparency, equivalence, and efficiency. So, as I said, Climate Social Forum, as his first edition in December 2020, between 14 and 30 and 20 of December, we made 6-7 days of events on 12 tracks that you can see listed here. You can visit our website where you can find also this video that for time's sakes I will not show here, but I will invite you to find on our YouTube page. This is like a resume of video resume of our experience of 1 week of virtual events, where at least 70 speakers has alternated on the floor of Climate Social Forum, and volunteers, association, and so on has contributed together to make this happen. We performed a participatory process also in the Climate Social Forum in order to set up common documents. And in fact, now we are on releasing the output documents of the Climate Social Forum together with the proceedings of the edition of 2020. We are going to present these documents also on the pre-COP in Italy with a dedicated event on 26th of September. So just to go ahead, you can join our community. You can find us on Facebook or on other social media, as we will see. You can join the Climate Social Forum also by our website. You can find it here. You can be volunteer, you can support as an organization, you can be a speaker in our session. We kindly invite people also to propose themselves as a speaker. We want to give voice to what we call unconventional speakers, not the one that can be maybe famous or something, but someone that has something to say that maybe has not the space to talk. And you can be eventually a sponsor if you want to support also with resources. These are our channels. You can find on YouTube, on Slack, and so on. And I will post into the chat also the possibility to join. So that's all on my side. And I will stop sharing my screen, and I will leave the floor to the moderator of this session, that is Daniel Helmer. And then Daniel will give the floor to the speakers of today. So Daniel, if you want to introduce yourself and then to give the floor to the speakers, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Domenico. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. Hi everyone. I'm Daniel Helmer. I'm an organizer, also working with Climate Social Forum and others. I'm in the United States, and currently have the pleasure to be moderating this session, and looking forward to hearing the voices that we're going to hear from, not only from speakers to start us off, but also all of you to hear your voices and be able to put into words what we so rightly need. And so today we are going to be on the topic of NDCs, and then as well as climate finance, which are two very important topics. On climate finance, is a very important topic because as we're shifting our structures across the world, we need finance, especially to be able to transition. And so those can be very complicated, and especially the solutions versus those solutions that aren't so much what we need is very difficult to understand, and in this small amount of time that we have left to really shift and shift the climate and our economic structures, we really need to make sure that we don't make a mistake because there is so little time to do it. And so I wanted to introduce our speakers. Francesca Spinozzi is from the Climate Reality Project. Lade Malashevsky is from Yungo, and Stefania Romano is from the Green Deal and TCPR. Domenico was at
it's a climate reality project thingy, but okay,
oh,
they can include this.
Yeah, okay, great. And so would like to first introduce Francesca Spinozzi from the Climate Reality Project, and I'm looking so much to hearing your introduction. So welcome, Francesca Spinozzi.
Thanks, Daniel. Hi, everyone. Very nice to meet you. As Daniel mentioned, I am Francesca Spinozzi, and I am a climate leader at the Climate Reality European branch, and I'm part of the Italian team. I'm currently based in Italy, although I work remotely for the Green Climate Fund, which is based in Songdo, South Korea, about 2 hours away from Seoul. So it's a pleasure for me to be here today. I wanted just to give you a little bit more background with respect to who I am, aside from being a climate leader at the Climate Reality Project. And then if that's fine with you, Daniel, I will just share a message for kicking us started with the discussion. I understand I have about 4 or 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So I joined the Climate Reality Project about 1 year ago. I attended the second virtual training in August last year. And so far it's been a really exciting experience. And that's the second time that I'm invited to join the Climate Social Forum, which I think it's a really amazing initiative. So thanks very much for organizing it. I'm also supporting as a volunteer the European Food Wave projects, and when I have time, I also collaborate as a volunteer for WWF Italy. With respect to my educational background, I have a background in economics and energy. I studied in Italy and also in other places around the world, including Canada, Moscow, and Australia. But I am currently working at the Green Climate Fund, so I really work on climate finance every day. And I'm also a renewable energy professional. I have about 9 years of experience in assessing green investments and sustainability projects. To help companies and organizations to select those investments that have a solid business case, but also a positive long-term impact on the environment and on society. I joined the Green Climate Fund about 2.5 years ago where I moved to Korea because what's really amazed me of this really peculiar financial mechanism of the UNFCCC is its mandate. So the mandate of the fund is to serve the Paris Agreement. So I really wanted to join, and in the end I succeeded, and I got a position at the Office of Portfolio Management of the Green Climate Fund. And just to briefly share what I do in practice every day, I'm constantly reviewing the funding proposals that we receive at the GCF, at the Green Climate Fund. both the mitigation projects and the adaptation projects. But what I really dedicate myself to every day is to make sure that these projects actually have a design for impact results from day one of project development. So when we have a concept note, when we have a project, we need to be sure at the design stage that we will be able to measure the results and the achievements of these climate change mitigation and adaptation projects. So I think this is really something key. Because if you are not able to monitor and to measure the results of a project, then you won't have any lessons learned, and you won't understand if those measures have been actually affecting towards achieving the targets of the Paris Agreement. And this is really challenging because you need data, you need people, you need finance, and you need capacity in the countries. And the GCF is working only with developing countries that have a really limited capacity in this respect. So that we are supporting countries to design for results, and it's been really exciting and also a big effort so far. I think that if you want to understand the problems of climate change, you need to look into the numbers and to deep dive into the models of the projects to understand if they make sense and if they will be able to generate long-term impact. But to make a parallelism with the topic of today, and then I think I'm out of time, so I will just close with this comment. But I believe that as for the projects, we also need policies, and so NDCs that are really practical, implementable, and that are ready that will enable us to monitor the actions on the ground and to see if we are achieving the programs and if the progress and the results that we had in mind at the policy design stage. So I think that this is the gap that we have at this point in time. And we don't need it's nice to think about dreams, but we need to be practical and to have NDCs that are implementable and that are backed by financial resources. So that's just my broad message to you today. And I'm really looking forward to fruitful discussions with all of you. Thanks very much. Back to you, Daniel.
I can do it on my.
Thank you, Francesca. And that was a really, really great introduction. And just so people know, we'll be hearing more from Francesca and the other panelists in the questions round, and so we'll be going more on that. And so, hold on.
Hey, Mike, we're about 2.8 miles out.
1 second.
Okay, you can introduce yourself, Vladi, and Francesca and Stefania.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn, right? Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I'll be really much briefer than Francesca was. Her introduction was great, but I'm not so good at introducing myself. I'm actually a math student here in Italy, in Milan, at the university. But it's been a few years that I'm also climate activist. I participated the last COP where I started collaborating with young. I took part to two working groups, the one about adaptation and the other one about finance, and that's the theme about which we are talking today. And I think that even though I'm studying math and I've participated to the finance working group, and I'm also data scientist, so I live with numbers and data and everything that has to do with numbers. So it's really data related reality, the one of my everyday life, but I still think that, and I will deepen this topic during while I'll be answering the questions. But I think that climate finance and in general finance has a meaning if we also take a cultural, if we also change from a cultural perspective. So it's not only about financing projects, which is of the most importance, but it's not the only thing we have to do. I already said this in previous dialogues, in previous interviews, and I still think this, because yes, we need now finance, we need to start implementing projects, in particular when we are talking about the developing countries, because they are the ones that are suffering the most and usually have the least capabilities to cope with climate change. So in particular in their case, international climate finance is of vital importance. But I think that at the root of these of all the projects and everything else, there should be a cultural change in the perspective in our relation with nature, and in how we actually perceive the world around us. So I'll stop here and probably get better into these while answering to the questions. Thank you.
And thank you, Gladia. I was sorry that there was someone talking that I had to I couldn't introduce quite so well. But looking forward to hearing more. And so next, our final speaker, Stefania, you can introduce yourself. From Green Deal and climate reality.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I have a very long story, in fact, in terms of my friendship and my commitment to the environment. I started in the environmental field long time ago on behalf of the Italian Minister of the Environment, and I traveled all around. I have to say, I have been lucky enough to be living in those times where the international cooperation was really made at the negotiations tables with high-level ministers, and interesting roundtable discussion. So I have to say, though, that in spite of my devotion and commitment, I'm quite disappointed by the results that have been too slow and too low in ambitions, I would say. Working for the Italian Minister of the Environment have been seconded to international organizations abroad, among which the Regional Environmental Center, and have been located in Central Eastern Europe, in Turkey, in the MENA region, the Arab region, and also in that bilateral cooperation with Brazil. For a long while, I have been very much involved in the Green New Deal for Europe campaign. I've been the coordinator for Italy, and now I am in the European team. But even more interesting, I would say, besides being a climate reality leader, since a very long time, I've been trained a long time ago, 2013 in Turkey, and then have been the focal point for a number of different trainings, and I'm very active in the Italian team currently. Although besides the Green New Deal, I also want to be highlighting that I'm currently working for an international organization, which is ICLEI, which puts together subnational governments and just fosters actions on local level. And I'm saying that because all over my career, I have witnessed a lot of loopholes in the implementations, and I really do believe that local action is paramount. As far as the Green New Deal is concerned, what I think is interesting for the audience is that there are a lot of efforts at European and international level. Specifically, we know that Ursula von der Leyen, when she started her mandate, she immediately promised a big, green revamp and reboosting of the economy, and transitioning towards decarbonizing the ways and the partners forward. But I don't really see ambition in that very pledge and promise. In fact, the Green New Deal for Europe, the Green Deal the European Green Deal it's not called itself new, because there is nothing new over there, I have to say. And it's quite slow in terms of time, because, you know, the climate neutrality by 2050 is too far away, and it's a death sentence for millions around the world. It's too small because the money which is invested is absolutely it's just a fraction of the resources necessary to transition Europe's industry, infrastructures, agriculture away from fossil fuels, and it's still stuck in an economic model which prizes competitiveness against solidarity. Because I think that after all, the key points of a real transition and of a real transformation stay in key words, which is solidarity, which is local, I mean, we should not really reinvent the wheel. We should just take whatever we have and preserve and our resources and preserve our human interactions and moving away from the, you know, competitive model, which has really brought us to a place of no return. I mean, if we keep on with this pace, there is no way, there is no survival, but not for our planet, but for ourselves. So I'm very happy to be part of this discussion about the climate finance, because climate is key. Although I don't think that efforts have been done, you know, that the efforts taken have been enough as far as that the situation is concerned, and that besides that the greenwashing which has been all around us. Probably the bank sector is still financing fossil fuels, and in spite of the fact that there is a lot of money put in the change, I don't think that money is enough at all for the change that we really aim to have. So this is a short introduction about myself and what I'm doing, and happy to move forward with yourself in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Yeah. And we also have our other speaker who has arrived. And just to introduce Jenny Salazar Zapata. She is from Università de Roma, and La Sapienza, and Rete Giovanni 2021. And Jenny, we're just doing introductions right now, and so you feel free. You can introduce yourself and say a little bit about what you are doing, and a little on what you would like to talk about. But we're then going to go after this into 2 questions, and so we'll be going around with 3 different questions for you and the other panelists to answer. So welcome, Jenny. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Jenny, if you can hear us, you can introduce yourself. We are going now the round of introduction of the speakers. So you can take the chance to introduce yourself. Okay, maybe in the meanwhile that Jenny is activating the audio, we can go to the first question, Daniel, then we can give the chance to Jenny to introduce herself eventually when she gonna respond. So let's proceed to the first question, Daniel.
Okay, and Jenny, if you get your around, let us know, and we can do your introduction then. So we'll proceed on to the round of questions. And so the first question that we are going to ask, and we'll go Francesca first in the order that we started, and then maybe we'll switch it up a little bit just for fun. And so the first question is for our panelists, how can climate finance support the implementation of the Paris Agreement? So I know some of you have talked a little bit about that, but looking forward to the answer. And so Francesca, if you would like to start off, how can climate finance support the implementation of the Paris Agreement?
Thanks for this very key question, and I'm honored to get the chance to start on this, because you can talk days.
I can hear Francesca anymore.
Yep.
Okay.
It looks like
she's freeze. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if for a second. But Vlad would, if she doesn't freeze in a second, would you Vlad, would you like to I guess start if and then we'll come back to Francesca.
I'll actually be brief on this. So as soon as Francesca comes back, I can leave her the floor. So I think that climate finance, I've also done a few brief videos that maybe Domenico has the links, I don't know. And where I've been talking in particular about Article 6, which is the most related one to climate finance in the Paris Agreement. And the main points are those about multilateralism and collaboration. So climate finance can push different countries or different even stakeholders, businesses, private sector, and so on to it can actually give funds to different projects and therefore give the possibility to mitigate the emissions or to adapt to climate change, or even the both of these things. So and climate finance is a key issue because as you know, I think, yeah, I mean, everyone knows that in order to create projects, you actually need usually money to make them. So and the point about international climate finance is that it creates collaboration between different countries, between different stakeholders. So for example, later I'll be talking about Ukraine NDC, because I'm actually Ukrainian, even though I live in Italy since I was a child. And I'll take the opportunity to talk about its NDC. And in the case of these countries, which I consider Ukraine a developing country, and most of the developing countries, they actually need funds. And international climate finance, if we have, in particular, if we have like some a baseline, for example, Article 6, which is well structured, it's an important and fundamental start in order to finance projects in these countries. They are convenient to the developed countries because usually it takes less money, for example, to mitigate in developing countries, because the situation is kind of worse. Just think about the energetic perspective. I mean, in Ukraine, there is still coal used, and yeah, there is a lot of energetical problems, and therefore it's easier to invest and obtain bigger results in those countries than, for example, in many developed countries where you already, for example, have a lot of solar panels and so on. It's not always the case. It's not true every time, but in many cases that's true. And so there are countries that could invest and obtain they could also use this for their NDCs. So this collaboration, I think it's important, and it's a big opportunity. So I think this is the main point about climate finance at the international level, so regarding Paris Agreement and so on. And I think Francesca is back, so I think I can give her the floor.
Yep. Thank you, Valerie. So that was really great, and I'm looking forward to also hearing on your part on the NDCs and next questions. And Francesca, Vlad just well, you had connection issues. Talked a little bit on the first question, and so if you'd like, you can go next, or also would you like to pick off where you left off?
Yes, yes, please, and apologies for that. I don't know, something technical happened with my connection, but you can hear me well, right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, that's great. So sorry, I would like to continue what I was saying before. I was quoting actually Christiana Figueres, right? Because I think that you know, wherever finance go, this is where the GHG emissions go or don't go, right? So this is precisely the reason why finance is key for a successful implementation of the Paris Agreement. So it's important to understand where we are today with respect to the figures, the current baseline, right? So as of 2019, the total climate finance was allocated for about $630 billion. But you might think that this is, you know, a big number, but it's clearly far away from what we need to reach the Paris goal of 1.5. So under an optimist kind of scenario, we will need about $1.6 trillion invested per year on climate finance versus the 600 billion that we have today. So this is really about just 40% of what is actually needed in the best case scenario. But according to other analysis, actually 1.6 trillion per year won't be enough. You will need up until $4 trillion per year. And if this is the case, we are even you know, in a much worse condition that we are at the baseline. We have only about 15% of what is actually needed to mobilize on an annual basis. So I just wanted, you know, to clarify this aspect, because I always think that numbers are critical to understand the issues that we have in front of us. So this is just to start off with the discussion, I believe. But you know, since the target that we have of 1.5 is really ambitious, so definitely public funds, development funds, grants are clearly not enough to reach this goal. So we really need private finance to come in, and we need some systems, some mechanisms to catalyze private finance by using these scarce public resources to be able to de-risk private green investment opportunities. So this is really key to mobilize private capital using the so-called blended finance solution. So co-financing projects with both private and public funds mechanisms. As you know, we are in a capitalism-based economy. So private sector is key in our society. We are a market-based economy. So where the private sector makes, you know, most of the decision of our economy every day. So these decisions made in the private sector will determine if we will be able to meet the Paris goals, right? So private sector is key because it brings capital and know-how. So we really need private climate finance. The issue that we have there is that, you know, green investments are long-term oriented, right? while the financial markets are short-sighted. So, and we have definitely seen this in the financial crisis of 2008. So how can we bridge the long-term orientation of the green investments and the short-term orientation of the financial markets? That's the first issue that we need to fix. The second issue is that so far, private sector, the private markets have been very slow to respond. I mean, they are still investing massively in fossil fuel development and also in intensive agriculture systems. So this means that the full import of the green transition has not been yet fully reflected in the asset prices of fossil fuels. So this means that the private sector so far has not yet fully appreciated the value of the green transition that we are going through at this moment. So how can we fix these two issues? There are many ways and many challenges in front of us, but first and foremost, we need to ensure that we integrate the financial analysis also with, economic analysis that need to factor in the costs not only of carbon, of GHG emissions, but also the costs of waste production, of pollution, of hair, the cost of recycling. All these items will need to be included into the models that investors apply when they need to decide where they need to allocate their capital. So I think this is hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, can I go ahead? Okay, I'm very sorry. So I was just saying that we need to integrate the financial analysis with these key variables, but also we need a strong regulation to move the economy, because as I said, it's short-sighted, and we need governors also to have a more long-term orientation of their policies. And also we need financial incentives, but also financial penalties to ensure that companies will make that integration into their investment decisions that I mentioned before. So, and clearly we can't just rely on carbon prices. It's not enough. We need stronger financial incentives and punishments, as I said. And we need changes in legal frameworks. So we need to make carbon risk disclosure mandatory across the world. As of today, I think that only a very few number of countries, including New Zealand, have made mandatory the disclosure of climate. Unless we make climate risk disclosure something that needs to be countries are obliged to do, then compulsory, then we can't meet the targets. And then we also need to change the corporate governance of companies, which is still focused on the short term, but needs to be incentivized to be looking towards the long term of green investments and green recovery. So I think that I've talked enough so far, and sorry for my internet connections. I'll give you the floor back to Daniel. Thanks.
Thank you, Francesca. And so that was a really great explanation. And so the next
Hello.
we'll move on to, can you?
Hi, Daniel. Do you hear me? I'm Jenny.
Yep, Jenny. I was just about to say, Jenny, if we can hear you, and if you'd like to do a quick introduction.
I'm very sorry for the poor connection. I tried from different devices, so if you hear me, I can keep this solution. Otherwise, I will have to write in the chat. So just let me know if you hear me.
We can hear you, Jenny. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay.
So a quick introduction. My name is Jenny Salazar. I am a consultant in sustainability issues in a boutique here in Milan. And my main, let's say, day by day, workflow is based on exactly how to lead a company in the different stages of the sustainability. So there are many SMEs in like our economy in Italy is basically based on these small and medium enterprises. And most of the counterparts are unaware or haven't dealt with sustainability in general. So in some cases, this is a new term, a new terminology in the companies. So there is a work in terms of education. And from education, there is like a whole activity of creating useful and material information that can be disclosed in order to show the market how that company is being sustainable from an economic, but also a social and an environmental perspective. So this is for what accounts my activity. While of course I thank Domenico Vito, who invited me to this session, and I thank you for having me here. We also work with a network of young associations where the idea is to align the objectives of our generation with what are the economic and political pathways that our country wants to embark in this post-COVID new age, let's say. While concerning the question of how can climate finance support the implementation of Paris agreements, so finance, as the previous speaker said, is a great driver for change, because like each project, especially in environmental projects, require a lot of resources, financial resources. So there is this, let's say, stream of finance that is called impact finance, where the project requires to intentionally create a positive environmental and social impact. And moreover, the measurement of this impact is linked to the financial return. So this is a way to align the results, the financial results, with the outcomes. So the environmental and social outcomes of a project. This model is called the pay by result model, and in Italy we have studied some cases for the partnerships between public administration and private sector, as the public administration, so the municipality, let's say, is the promoter of the project that is linked to the territory. And from the other side, it is in charge of collecting the information that will then give a return to the investor, the private investor. So basically, this type of scheme has three parties. And I find that this is a great contribution at a local level towards the alignment of those requirements of Paris Agreement, but also the general targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. So that's from my part. I just wanted to bring the pay-by-result model and the public-private partnerships as a contribution, a concrete, tangible contribution towards this path. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny, and glad to have you here. And that was a really great answer to the question, especially when we're looking at, right now we need direct solutions that can be implemented right now and that are being implemented. And so that's a really great way to illustrate how climate finance can be implemented and support the Paris Agreement. And so next, we'll go to Stefania.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. No, I just a lot has been said already, but just to be short but focused on the potential solutions. I mean, we know that somehow climate finance is in the negotiations, and that have been going on for a long time. The first conference of the parties dates back 1995, and we are just looking forward for the next Glasgow conference of the parties. But I have to say that I don't have very much hope over there, as much as all the relevant experts and journalists and finance person that I'm talking to on daily basis, they have none either. So we know that there are a lot of mechanisms which are ongoing, and Francesca and Vladimir and also the other speaker have somehow stated it, that convention under the Article 11 states that the operation of the financial mechanism is entrusted in more international entities. There is ongoing fund mechanisms such as the Green Climate Fund and the Global Environmental Facility, the GEF, and there is the Special Climate Change Fund. So and somehow, at least on paper, there is still a lot which's been focused on adaptation and mitigation. Although, and again, I have a lot of friends of mine with whom I talk very frankly. For example, the United Nations, all the agencies which are working in the environmental field, not only UNEP, but also UNCTAD, the one which is focused on trade, they don't really focus on mitigation anymore, but just adaptation. This is a very sad news, I would say. There is also one more point two more points, in fact, that I would like to bring up. The first one is that I was reading a very interesting report that I really encourage you to be reading through, which is has been issued a few months ago by the Portfolio Earth. And that's giving very clear figures. Francesca before was saying, let's go with numbers, because numbers at the end of the day give you the reality of where we are. It's the facts. And it's been clearly stated in this report that in 2019, the world's largest banks have invested $2.6 trillion US, which is the entire GDP, just to make you understand, of Canada, in sectors in which governments and scientists agree that are the primary drivers of biodiversity destruction. Therefore, banks play a key role in the financial system that free-rides the biodiversity, and the regulators and rules which govern banks currently protect them from any consequences. We know that human life, that our survival depends on the environment, and that half of the world GDP is indebted to nature and to the services that provide to pollination, to water quality, to disease control, and then somehow most of the funding assessed are related to activities that directly cause biodiversity loss, which is fishing, which is mining, and that but many others which even indirectly drive biodiversity loss. Why I've been very much into the Green New Deal for Europe campaign, the one which is promoted by the M25, because it said it doesn't go to hypocritical greenwashing, but it says it very bluntly that a green revolution has to be done first of all by taking into account all the money which is like stagnating in the banks and is not used, which could be reinvested in the circle and creating jobs, for example. And we have been experiencing one of the greatest crises, health crisis, which is a climate crisis, in fact, like the pandemic. We have been all victims of it. And I really hope and I really wish that at the very beginning when we were stuck at home, I was thinking, oh, this is the way. I mean, finally, we had a crisis like this, because now we stay at home, locked, stuck, and we will come to the certain awareness that a real change has to be done in terms of mindset, in terms of thoughts, in terms of behavior, in terms of patterns, in terms of model. But what I've seen is that all the governments also have been keeping on preserving the social system and the economic system and the financial system, which is in place. And I don't think that the next COP is going to bring the change that we all wish for. I don't want to be pessimistic, but I do believe that a lot has been done, but not as much as it should be done. And this is from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefania. And Stefania or Stefania?
That's the same with me. They call me in all kind of Stefania in Latin America, Betania in Brazil. No, I like it. My name to be changed according to the person who pronounces it. It's fine with me.
Great. So I think it's really important, especially recognizing, that adaptation right now with mitigation, because for instance, in December in Latin America and Central America, we've had 3 hurricanes that ripped through Honduras and others, and then where right now climate finance for adaptation right now is really key and needed, and it's real. So the next, so we're going to go through a second round of questions, and then we'll have one public question. And sorry, right now I'm actually on a march from to in the US right now, so there's some background noise. But so
Daniel, sorry if I get in. Just I wanna say, let's for a matter of time, let's make 2 questions together, and the speakers will respond to the both of questions. So you can make the 2 questions to the floor, and then with the same order. So Francesca, Vladi, Stefania, and Jenny, they will respond. Okay.
And then we will switch to dialogue. And so the question is in the chat. And Domenico, if you can read that because it's a little noisy here.
I can help you in reading. And the question are these 2. The first one is: imagine that you participated to the update of your country NDCs, and how do you make the next one update more ambitious? And the other question is: do you feel that the NDCs of your country currently are fair enough? So the floor to Francesca first.
Okay, thanks very much for these 2 key questions, actually. I will try to be brief and to cover both at the same time, because they are really interrelated. So first of all, as you know, I mean, my country is Italy, so and Italy is part of the European Union. So the Italian NDC, of course, is part of the European Union NDCs and the European Union targets. As you know, in December last year, under the presidency of Ursula von der Leyen, the European Green New Deal was announced, and they raised the ambition with respect to GHG emissions reductions by 2030 of 55% compared to the levels of 1990. And we also have a target for renewable energy consumption in order to achieve the 50% GHG emissions reduction of 32%. Which, by the way, was set in 2018. So 2 years before the European Green New Deal was announced. So the reason why I'm talking about renewable energies is because, first of all, I have a good understanding of the technologies and of the market of renewable energy, not only in Europe, but also across the world. So if I would have the chance to contribute to the NDC of my specific country, so of the needs of Italy, I will definitely start from the renewable energy market, because we really have big issues with respect to being able to reach the 32% target by 2030. So to give you an idea, and I don't want to load you with the numbers, but as of now, the target for 2030 requires that we need to install a total of 70 gigawatts total, including solar and wind. And according to the projections and the current annual growth rate of these two markets, we will be able to meet only 60% of the 2030 target with the current growth rate in the market and the current incentive schemes in place. So there is a 30 gigawatts gap there. Between now and the next 10 years. And for those of you who are familiar with the energy sector, 30 gigawatts, it's really big. It's not something that you can just do in 1 year. So it's a really critical gap that we have there. And I believe that the first thing that I will do in order to speed up the installation of these two key renewable energy sources that we have in Italy is, first of all, to speed up the authorization processes of the solar and wind power plants. You will be amazed to go through some readings detailing, you know, for one plant, for getting the authorization, you need at least 2 years, and many times you go even farther than that. And because there is so much bureaucracy there, and then you also have cultural issues there. It's really, really challenging. But if we want to meet 30%, 32% target by 2030, we really need to work on this specific aspect. We can't afford to have 2 years to get one plant approved. This is really nonsense. And second of all, we really need to invest and speed up also the revamping and repowering of those plants that are already there. So as you know, we had about 10 years ago, the first rounds of incentives for solar plants and wind power plants, and many investors just rushed to take this really generous amount of incentives that we had. But now these investors, I mean, they took the money and the plants are just, you know, are just not there working at their potential, their maximum potential. Why? Because they're not interested to invest into maintaining and enhancing these power plants. So we need incentives also to make the most of these plants that are already there, that have been installed 10 years ago when the technology was much less powerful than what we have today. So really, we also need to work on greenfield plants, but the first priority will need to incentivize revamping and repowering of both solar panels, solar power plants and wind power plants. And then I would like also to mention that this is, of course, related to the supply side, right? So it's about providing incentive for the producers of renewable energy. But I would also like to link with some of the comments raised by the other participants today. So it's not only an issue of the supply, it's an issue of the demand. We need to make consumers, citizens aware of their choices. So when you are using electricity in your home, where is the electricity from? How can I understand, how can I become more aware of the origin of my energy? So if you have, you know, a nice villa, and you will also have the funds for installing your own solar panels, then this will be great. But what about all these people that don't have the possibility to install their solar panels, right? So we also need.
And Francesca, just in interest of time, we want to make sure to.
Okay, sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, I just wanted to say that we also need to empower the demand and to invest in education so that people understand what is the consequence of their selections of different kind of services. So if I choose one energy suppliers rather than another one, I need to understand which kind of energy is this vendor and electricity vendors supplying me. We need to empower people, and we need to make them aware of the choices that they make. So it's not only an issue of the supply side, but also of the demand side. And apologies, I will just give the floor to the next speaker. Thanks.
And this is, well, one, this is two questions in one, but also it's a very big question. So there's so much there, and so much I know that we can talk, that we have to talk about. And next I'll give the question to Vlad.
Yeah, hi. So I live in Italy too, but as I previously said, I will be talking about the Ukrainian NDC because all the other speakers, I guess, will be talking about the Italian one. So just to talk about different things. So the Ukrainian NDC, and this is the answer, the answer to the third question, isn't fair enough. And it's not me saying that, but it's the climate action tracker. The Ukraine has updated on words because it hasn't still submitted the actual text of the document. But the president said what are the Ukrainians' intentions at the end of the last year, and actually the Ukrainian NDC became insufficient, and it was. And previously it was critically insufficient. So it actually became better, but it's still really bad. I think that one of the main points is that how it was taught and written, or at least it's not still written, but in the future, I think by Glasgow it will be. The point is that it was simply a bunch of ministers and workers of the ministry that put down this text and these intentions, and that's all because someone from the UNFCCC has asked them. There wasn't any kind of like collaboration with the civil society, with different stakeholders. There was those are the intentions of the ministry, actually, of the government, and that's nothing more. Me, as a member of Yango, of course, we encourage a lot the collaboration and the collaboration with all the kinds of stakeholders, in particular the civil society. So, for example, if the government did actually try to at least to get interested about what were the points of for example, of the youth, maybe it could be a bit better, and the same if it considered many other stakeholders. And there is also, I'm trying to be as brief as I can. There is also,
it's not easy.
Yeah, there is also one other critical point. I think that, for example, in Ukraine and many other countries, they are looking at the NDCs only by the point of view of energy supply and reducing GHGs by switching from non-renewables to renewables. First of all, Ukraine is reducing GHGs since the 19th levels, which is the point they are taking as in consideration. Because simply the economy became worse after the Soviet Union disgregated. So they actually didn't do anything to make the economy better and greener. The economy simply became worse. That's all. They also don't consider the emissions from the occupied territories. So the fact that it's a country in war, it's also a problem because those emissions aren't considered, because Ukraine the government is saying we can do anything there. It's not under our control, so we won't count those emissions. But there are emissions, and someone has to count them. Russia isn't counting, Ukraine isn't counting, but they are still there. So the reduction that Ukraine achieved since the 90s isn't actually a reduction. There's nothing better in the economy, and the only thing they are looking at is the switching of the energy supply. There is nothing about adaptation. Ukraine is a huge country from the agricultural perspective, and its soil, its territories, the woods are getting worse and worse. There are plenty of studies which I am not going to dive into, which simply demonstrate that the situation is becoming critically bad. And there is nothing about this in the NDCs. Probably, for example, asking the farmers what we could do to help you, or the loggers, how we could, for example, help you restore woods and so on. It would be something good that okay, so and I'm going to close. So yeah, I think that taking more in general, for even for other countries, there should be more dialogue with the different stakeholders, and we shouldn't focus only on technical aspects and on the energy sector, because that's not all. There is also adaptation and many other aspects. So yeah, that's all. Thank you. Sorry.
Great job, Vlad, and especially pulling in the Ukrainian perspective. That is really important. And so next, so I guess Stefania or Jenny, since I know we mixed up the order a little bit. Would either of you like to go next?
I can go next if it's okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, very interesting in interventions, in fact, but I really think that one of the things that we have learned from the current Corona crisis is that disasters are best to be avoided, and 2020, as well as being the year of COVID-19, remains crucial for really making ambition much more real in order to be preventing disastrous climate change. It's about preparedness, it's about anticipation, it's about coordination of all the actors, and I think that also actions themselves have to become more effective. We might be identifying 3 key elements that can somehow encourage that process in a more effective way, and the first one is transparency. Now, in fact, if we just think about that, if we wanted to be assessing and comparing countries' progress towards achieving their national assessments, I mean, they're really very hard to do it because they're very dissimilar qualitatively and conditionally, and also the United Nations framework of the Paris Convention itself, the mechanism lack the teeth to ensure that the national contracts are implemented. So very often the NDCs lack specificity, which I would say it's a major issue. They lack of coherence. I mean, coherence between climate action and measures. And also the lack of implementability. I mean, it's like, in fact, you can really say if a cake is tasteful or not when you eat it. And these NDCs are perfect on paper, but they just cannot be implemented. And there is nothing to prevent dangerous climate change. So I think that we should be much more, I personally think, after having been in these negotiations and climate processes for so long, I think that we should just simplify processes, and we should be really rethinking that relationship to land, to labor, to our collective imaginaries, to be rethinking that the current deal, which is wrong because it's based on colonialism and patriotism and capitalism, and having a reflective conversation, learning from the strength of our different approaches, and imagining things that have not been done before. And maybe I would just like to end with a sentence of Jane Goodall, which is very close to my heart. And she said, how is it possible that it is the most intellectual creature on earth that is destroying its only home? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefania, and our last speaker, and then Domenico, are we going to do one public question, or are you switching into Talanoa right after this?
Okay.
Jenny is next.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. So I'll be very short with my response. Many aspects have been touched by previous speakers. And there is a recent news about the European climate law that I wanted to bring to the table, which was approved by 244 favorable votes. And this law is basically making the claims of the European Union into legislation. So I think it's a step forward in this path we have to commit in the following decade. However, one of the main results from this law is that the members of the European Union commit in reducing the greenhouse gas emissions, lowering them for at least 55% by 2030 compared to the levels of 1990. So this was voted, like the parties that voted against this threshold were some of the Greens, which might be a paradox, but the main reason is that a reduction of at least 55% is not even enough. So they were pushing for a higher threshold from 60 to 68%. But besides these percentages, a key takeaway is that claims are not enough, and there is always the space for making even more ambitious, finding more ambitious targets. And this is something that we as a young generation are very much pushing towards. So there were some, I don't know if you heard about this news of Lisa Naueber in Germany. She is a representative of the Fridays for Future movement, and basically she went to the court, the Supreme Court, and made a legal movement towards the German government. And from that, the government of Germany had increased their percentage commitment from 55 to 65% of reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 2045. And there was a similar case in Portugal, where a group of 8 youngsters, like from 8 years old to 25, they sued the Portuguese government because of a big there was a big disaster in their territory, and from that they could like have justice for what had happened. So it's very important that like the message of these 2 examples, but there are many more. Like, for example, also in the Netherlands, 900 citizens sued the like in the same way different members of the European Union for the same reasons concerning climate. So the thing is that we can still push towards improvement if we are united and together in trying to make more ambitious targets and organizing ourselves. I just didn't want to repeat what other speakers said, but of course this needs a plan, strategy, data, and a method that has to be applied to different sectors. And there is no one-size-fits-all solution. So what happens in Western Europe cannot be the same in Eastern Europe, because there are differences. Like I will not go into detail, but I really appreciated the comment of the previous speaker about concerning Ukraine. So yeah, that's from my part, and I think.
Thank you, Jenny, and thank you to all the speakers. Now we have time for one question that I saw coming from the floor, and then we will run into the breakouts of Talanoa. So the question, I will state that, and maybe one of you can take it. How much could divestment from war economy favor climate finance? Can a specific email or youth sensitivity? So yes, Elsa, if you want to state that briefly.
Yeah, I will just take a minute, then I will leave the floor for someone else. I think that the point is that in our society there is, it's not simply about the problem of war economy, but of like a conflict economy. We are always usually in the society, we should go in conflict with someone else, like for who is better, who can get more money, and so on. So so the war economy is simply a consequence of this kind of society. So we have to change this. So collaboration should be much more important than conflict between people. It's not about who does better, but it's about us doing good and living a better life. That's all. So probably changing this perspective will lead to changing even the existence of war economies. And on this, I have to leave you because I really have to go. It was really interesting, and thank you all for this possibility. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Vladi. There's someone that wants to add something to the Vladi response regarding these questions.
Can I add something? Very
okay.
short. That it's a wonderful question, because I think that it really touched upon some of the key issues. Absolutely, a lot of money is still invested in wars, a lot of money, and in fact the military is not green at all. It's very polluting. I mean, the way how it is set up. And I like the fact that whomever has been raising the question puts their focus on sensitivity, youth and female sensitivity. So I think that is really the key elements that might be taking us towards a different route. And I will be very shortly in saying that some months ago I participated in a workshop which was run by Nora Bateson. She's a filmmaker, but her father was a very famous anthropologist and sociologist, and she developed the concept and the theory of the warm data. And then I connect to the question. Warm data. She just comes up with workshops where people make, like, they do research in interacting with each other, and she just starts from the idea that we shouldn't really talk about economy itself to have a solution, but we should be talking through the fact that we are interconnected, and that we really have to be aware about the interconnectedness of the whole planet with us and the natural resources. And if we have the switch in mind, which also includes youth and female sensitivity, as you know, the question was pointing out, then there will be a real transformation towards a place where we're really sharing commonly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Stefania. And now let's run to the breakout. For the time purposes, as you can understand, we will make just one round. We were planning to be 3 rounds, one for each Talanoa question, but unfortunately there is no time. But let's make one round more long. We can take 20 minutes. In which you are asked to respond to the Talanoa question. The breakouts will be regional, so now you will see on your screen the possibility to choose your region, and on that I will help you and guide you to take the 3 questions in a time slot. But the whole process of Talanoa will last a little bit less, 20 minutes. Then decide before the breakouts are ending, decide spokesperson to state out at the end your results. So I will now open the breakout sessions. You have roughly 20 minutes to respond to where we are, current state of art, where do we want to go, goals and perspective, how do we get there, methods and strategy. Hi, Daniel.
Hey, so I know, right now, do we have, I know there's at least a few people in Europe.
Yes, you
And
can join there. You can join there.
who's moderating for that? Do we have
I will. You can moderate that. You can go there. Wait a minute. I come there.
Or because if were you going to moderate that, or
Yes, I'm going to moderate that.
okay, yeah, then,
Or you can go because the other ones are full. With Asia is okay. North America has no one. So you can go there into Europe. I will send you the Europe document. Okay.
well, I could if you're gonna moderate Europe, then that would be best because I have to maybe do.
Okay.
I might, yeah.
Okay.
And that, yeah, that way, if we need another moderator, then I can moderate. But
Okay. Okay, got it.
Or did you want to?
Welcome back. Welcome back. So, did you enjoy?
Yeah, it's really lively discussion, Domenico.
Great, great, great. So, okay, we are all back. So, here we are back, and let's go directly to explain what you have done into the breakouts. Let's start with Asia, okay? If you want to sit out, are you ready? Okay.
So I think I'm the spokesperson of Asia.
Okay.
Though I'm new here, I'll just.
You can share the screen also if you want.
Okay. Actually, we weren't able to discuss a lot in the previous session. I'll just briefly introduce what we have discussed. So, for the case of South Korea, the NDC of South Korea is to reduce 24% of 24% based on 2017 GHG emissions. So according to the Climate Action Tracker, it's highly insufficient, and South Korea is having an update for NDC by end of this year. So we all hope that we increase the amount of planned GHG reduction. And also, Yohiro shared his thoughts on what is the frontline sector of the climate mitigation. So yeah, so that he shared that thought about sorry
No worries.
Yeah, so he shared that the frontline sector that is sensitive to climate change is small farmers. So adaptation fund or another fund necessary for support farmers to face climate change is needed, highly needed. So yeah, and Atrai shared her thoughts about the Kenya NDC. So regarding the Kenya NDC, not much was not achieved, but however, the government highlighted that they will reduce their emission by 32%. And it was 30% previously, and they have increased their goal, updated their goal to 32%, though Atrai said it doesn't make a large change by just increasing their percentage to percentages. So I think it's, yeah.
Okay.
We all need more actions, right?
Okay. If you want, as I understood that we have for this round a few time, we will can take open this document till tomorrow. Tomorrow there is the last session, so you can exchange contact also in the meanwhile that the other team is presenting, and you can work on the document. So save your chat with the link, and you can work to that also till tomorrow, till the next session. I will give the floor now to Europe.
Okay, girls, if you want, I can briefly go ahead. I will try to share my screen.
Okay, go.
Okay, just a second. Okay, very briefly, In terms of where we are, the baseline, as we discussed even before the breakout, we know that we are not even halfway. We are not doing enough. And with respect to mobilizing finance, we will need to increase the current annual level of climate funds by at least 3 to 6 times. And with respect to NDCs, those are still too vague, not clear, and they lack, coherence and implementability. So we don't need to talk about dreams. We need to talk about how, in practice, we can reach the targets with specific policies. We also touched upon the issue of, it's really critical that we design the policies in a good way, because otherwise some criminal organization might be interested to take advantage of the generosity of some of the incentives that are there. And this happened particularly in Italy with respect to the generous feed-in tariffs for solar and wind power. So we talked about this big issue and how we will need to tackle also this problem. Where do we want to go? It's clear to everyone. We know that the solutions and the technologies are there. We don't need to invest into rocket science. It's not rocket science. The solutions are there, but we want to reach the target. We want a net zero economy, and we also want at the same time vulnerable countries and communities to be made resilient, to increase their adaptive capacity to climate change effects and extreme events also in Europe, because this is relevant also to developed countries, not only to the most vulnerable developing countries. And in Europe at this moment, unfortunately, not enough is being done. How do we want to get there? We touched upon the fact that the carbon tax and the emission trading system are not to be two distinct measures. They can be integrated, so they are not alternative. So we need both of them to reach the net zero economy target. And we need also to integrate into the investment decision, the cost of carbon, the cost of pollution, the cost of recycling, and all these other elements that are impacting people and the environment. And last but definitely not least, we need to empower people, the citizens, consumers. The messages, vote with your wallet, vote with your fork, are really key, because people need to understand that with their everyday actions, they can influence the progress against the targets of the Paris goals. It's not just something that it's under the government responsibility. It's something that also the citizen will need to achieve on their own. So that's all with Europe. Thanks.
Okay, thank you to both the teams. As also for Europe, if you want, you can take the documents till tomorrow, and we'll save some time eventually to present. So now we're gonna end the session. I don't know if there are questions respectively. I will take the chance for maybe if one from Asia can want to ask something from Europe or similarly. If not, we are closing this table, and we are going to invite you to the last table of tomorrow. This will be about climate change and human rights. It will be at 7:30 p.m. European Central Time. That means 5:30 p.m. in UTC. You can follow us also on Facebook. I shared the link also in the chat regarding the how to join the Climate Social Forum and so on. And keep updated for the next event. Thank you very much for your wonderful session. Thanks to the speakers for have joined, and all of you for having interacted. So thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Domenico.
Thanks, Domenico. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.